August 2012. Three guys are packing boxes in a commercial kitchen in Long Island City, Queens. No employees, just the founders. Matt Salzberg, who is a Harvard MBA, former venture capitalist. We had Ileni Pappas, a software engineer, and Matt Wadi, a trained chef, former Pilates studio owner. The first batch, they made 20 boxes. They sent it to their friends and family. They pre-measured ingredients, added a recipe card, everything you needed to cook dinner. No grocery store required, no guesswork, no food waste. The feedback was immediate. The people loved it. They said they wish something like this had existed. Pappas would later say, within 2 years, Blue Ribbon was shipping 8 million meal kits a month. Revenue went from 84 million in 2014 to 795 million in 2016. More than 1 million customers. A cover story in Forbes, Matt Salzberg's face on the cover with the headline, "To Infinity and Beyond." Then, in June of 2017, Blue Apron went public, $10 a share at a $1.89 billion valuation. And while they were on their IPO roadshow, while Salzberg was pitching investors on the future of food, Amazon announced it was buying Whole Foods. The market freaked out. Blue Apron had slashed its expected price from 15 to 17 down to 10 before the stock even opened. The first day of trading, flat. 6 weeks later, down 47%. By the end of 2017, it was the worst performing major IPO of the year. The same Forbes that put Salzberg on the cover reversed course. Blue Apron doesn't have a future. It will eventually be killed. By December of 2018, the stock had fallen to just $1 per share. It was at risk of New York Stock Exchange delisting. In 2023, it was sold to a food startup called Wonder Group for $103 million. A company that peaked at nearly $2 billion in valuation was sold for roughly what it cost him to run the marketing for just a single year. Hey, it's Jimmy Kim, and each and every week on Why It Failed, we break down the companies that looked unstoppable until they didn't. Not just what happened, but the marketing and business decisions underneath the collapse. Today, Blue Apron. And I want to be clear about something up front. This is not a complicated story. Blue Apron failed because of unit economics. Specifically, it cost too much to get a customer, and the customers just didn't stay long enough to justify the cost. Every other thing that went wrong, the IPO timing, the Amazon threat, the competition, was downstream of that one problem. Let's go ahead and break it down. Let me give the idea its due because it was genuinely good. The American grocery shopping experience in 2012 was broken. You go to the store, you pick a recipe, you buy 6 things, but the recipe only uses a portion of each one. Half the cilantro goes bad, the rest of the buttermilk sits in the fridge for 2 weeks. The average American household throws away roughly $1,500 in food per year. Blue Apron's pitch, we fix all that. It was pre-measured ingredients, portioned exactly for your recipe. There was no waste. Step-by-step instructions so you actually know what you're doing, delivered to your door. And the recipes, they change weekly so you never get bored. It solved real problems simultaneously. Decision fatigue, food waste, grocery inconvenience, and a general anxiety of what are we gonna make tonight. Early customers were evangelical. They posted pictures of their meals on Instagram, and the word of mouth was very strong. The first few years, Blue Apron was genuinely the products that felt like the future. Revenue from $78 million in 2014, all the way up to $341 million in 2015, all the way to $795 million in 2016. That's 10x in 2 years. Here's the thing about 10x growth. It hides a lot. When revenue is growing that fast, you don't ask whether each customer is worth what you paid to acquire them. You just simply acquire more. And that was mistake number 1. Blue Apron's growth strategy was about spending on marketing, acquire customers, grow fast, and figure out the unit economics later. They were everywhere. They were on podcast ads, YouTube pre-rolls, TV spots. The Blue Apron ad was inescapable in 2015 and 2016. You couldn't listen to a podcast without hearing about them. And the discounts. First box, heavily discounted or free, with referral credits, the kind of acquisition offer that brings a lot of people who are primarily interested in a deal, not the product. This matters a lot, and we'll come back to this later. Here's what Blue Apron disclosed in their S1, the IPO filing. They stated that their customer acquisition cost was $94. Analysts looked at that number and immediately knew something was wrong. But here was the actual math. From Q1 2016 to Q1 of 2017, Blue Apron spent $178 million on marketing. In that same period, they acquired 387 178,000 net new customers. 178 million divided by 387,000 customers, that's not $94. That's $460 per customer. Blue Apron had averaged cheap early customers into their number to make it look better than it was. The real current customer acquisition cost, the one that they told you actually cost to grow, was nearly 5 times the number of the filing. But even at $94, the math was hard. To break even on a $94 CAC or a customer acquisition cost with a 26% contribution margin, a customer needed to generate about $362 in net revenue at an average order value that took roughly 4 to 5 months. And here's the problem. 62% of Blue Apron customers churned within 6 months, meaning the majority of customers were leaving before Blue Apron broke even on acquiring them. Every new customer was, more often than not, a money-losing transaction, and they were spending more and more to acquire them every quarter. Salzberg's strategy was get big fast, and it worked for Netflix and for Uber. The theory, scale creates cost efficiencies that fix the unit economics. The problem? Meal kits aren't software. You can't scale a recipe box the same way you scale a streaming platform. Fulfillment centers don't get cheaper because you build more of them. Fresh produce logistics don't compress the server costs. The variable costs are real, and they stayed real. 2017 and Blue Apron had hit a wall. Private marketing funding was drying up for meal kit companies. The growth was slowing down. The losses were mounting. $55 million in 2016 on $795 million in revenue. The only move left was to go public. June 19, 2017, Blue Ribbon files its S1. The initial target price, $15 to $17 per share. Implied valuation, around $3.2 billion. 2 weeks later, June 16th, Amazon announces it's acquiring Whole Foods for $13.7 billion. This is the single worst piece of news that Blue Apron could have received during their IPO Roadshow. It meant Amazon, the company that had already disrupted everything, was going all in on food and grocery. And not in a future theoretical way, it was this happening now way. Blue Apron immediately slashed its expected range from $10 to $11 a share. The stock opened on June 29, 2017 at $10, priced at $10. And it was flat on day one. And then it just kept falling. By August, $5.31, down 47% from their IPO price in just 6 weeks. And by November, around $3, and Matt Salzberg resigns as CEO. And by December of 2018, it was below $1, and it was at risk of being delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. But here's what I want to make clear. This is something that Salzberg himself would eventually acknowledge. Amazon wasn't the reason that Blue Apron failed. Amazon was the excuse that masked the reason. The real reason was always unit economics. Salzberg later said, the minute we went public, the PR landscape switched on us. He blamed short sellers planting negative stories. He blamed the media focusing on EPS instead of customer metrics. Some of that was probably true. But the customer metrics weren't good either. Every new cohort of customers was generating less revenue over the first 6 months than the cohort before them. The business was getting less efficient at every level, and exactly the moment it needed to be more efficient. CAC, also known as customer acquisition cost, is not an average customer acquisition cost. It's your current CAC. Blue Apron reported an average CAC of $94, built by averaging cheap early customers into the number. The current CAC, which was actually costing them to grow from 2016 and 2017, was $460. In marketing, we talk about this all the time. The customers who come in early, the true believers, the word of mouth adopters, are cheap. As you exhaust the audience and start buying paid traffic, customer acquisition climbs. Blue Apron kept reporting the blended average while running a business off the real number. If you're building a subscription business, whether it's a meal kit, a SaaS product, a newsletter, or anything that with a subscription, your customer acquisition cost isn't the total marketing spend divided by all customers ever. It's what you're paying right now for the customer at the current margin. That's the number that tells you whether the business is getting better or worse. Blue Ribbon's current CAC told anyone who looked closely the business was getting worse fast. Now let's talk about why customers were leaving, because this is where the story gets really interesting from an operator standpoint. The meal kit produced a built-in churn problem that almost was structural. Here's how it plays out. Week 1, the box arrives. You're excited and you cook that meal and it's really good. The ingredients are fresh, the recipe's clear, and you feel like a real cook. By week 3, same thing, you're into it. By week 6, you realize it takes 45 minutes minimum. You get home late, you're tired, and then you hit the DoorDash. Week 8, the box is still coming and the ingredients, well, they're sitting in the fridge and you feel guilty, so you decide to cancel. This isn't a flaw in the execution, it's a flaw in the product behavior fit. Meal kits require you to change habits, specifically to dedicate time to cooking on a consistent basis. And most people actually don't want to change that habit. They want to cook, and that's a different thing. Think about what Blue Ribbon actually was competing with. It's not competing with going to the grocery store. The framing is wrong. It was competing with every option you had when you don't want to cook. Maybe you want to go DoorDash or stop by Chipotle or rotisserie chicken from Whole Foods, or maybe just some leftovers. Those options are faster, cheaper per meal, and require zero commitment. The subscription meal kit requires you to plan your week around delivery days and commit to cooking multiple nights at a time. That's fundamentally high friction behavior. And Blue Ribbon was paying $460 to acquire a customer who were churning in 6 months or less. Now, let's add HelloFresh. HelloFresh launched in Europe in 2011 and entered the US market in 2012, same year as Blue Ribbon. They had more funding, better unit economics, a German parent company with operational discipline. Every dollar Blue Apron spent marketing educated customers and consumers about the meal kits, and HelloFresh captured some of those educated consumers too. Blue Apron was building a category and splitting the fruits with every competitor in it. Then came grocery chains with their own meal kits. We're talking Costco, Target, Kroger, and they had no shipping costs and no commitment. You just pick it up when you're already there. And then Amazon, after Whole Foods acquisition, with its own meal kit produced by Prime Logistics. The competition didn't come from one place, it came from everywhere simultaneously. Discounts to acquire customers is borrowing against your LTV or your lifetime value. Blue Apron's growth was partially fueled by heavy discounts and free trials. The first box free, and you got referral credits. That works if the customer who came through the discount stays. Blue Aprons, they didn't. In fact, 62% of those customers churned within 6 months. What that means in practice, the customer most attracted by discount stayed the least loyal. You paid $460 to acquire them, they used the discount, and then they left. In retention marketing, my world, we call this a discount trap. You're not building a customer base, you're building a promotional response. And the economics of a promotional response only look good until you stop promoting, which Blue Apron couldn't do, because without promotions, acquisition dried up. Without acquisition, revenue fell. And the falling revenue and fixed costs of fulfillment centers, the losses accelerated. After the IPO, everything moved in the wrong direction at once. Blue Apron cut marketing spend to try to narrow losses. By cutting marketing spend in subscription business with high churn means your customers' base starts shrinking immediately. March 2017, they had peak customers at 1 million customers. And by December 2017, 746,000 customers, they were down 25% in just 9 months, with a net loss in 2017 of $210 million. Co-founder Matt Wadi steps down as CEO less than a month after the IPO. Matt Salzberg, he resigns as CEO in November 2017, and Brad Dickerson takes over. Then Linda Kowalski in 2019. 3 CEOs in just 2 years. They tried everything. Retail partnerships, they tried selling boxes at Costco, they tried an Amazon partnership, a Walmart.com partnership, even a wine subscription add-on. They even tried faster recipes for customers who didn't have 45 minutes. Nothing fixed the underlying problem, because the underlying problem was they never had a product, and it was never Amazon. It was the math. By 2022, net loss was $109.7 million. In September 2023, Wonder Group acquires Blue Apron for just $103 million. A company that was valued at $1.89 billion at IPO sold for just $103 million 6 years later. That's a 95% collapse in value. And here's the footnote worth adding. HelloFresh, which ran the same category with better unit economics and more operational discipline, is still a multi-billion-dollar public company. The same idea with just better execution. That's not luck, that's business. All right, operator mode. I talk about retention marketing quite often in my business life, and this is literally my world. So I want to spend some time here on the actual mechanics because there's more to this lesson in this story to apply to every subscription business. Let's start with point number one. LTV to CAC ratio is one of the most important matters for subscription business. Here's a simple version. If it costs you $460 to acquire a customer and a customer is worth $300 in lifetime value, you are losing $160 in every single customer you acquire. And the faster you grow, the faster you lose money. Blue Apron's growth strategy was pouring water into a leaky bucket and called it scaling. Every subscription business, meal kit, SaaS, newsletter, box subscription needs to justify one question before everything else. Does my LTV justify my CAC? Not your average historical CAC, but your current one, the marginal CAC. That's the one that reflects what it costs you today to add one more customer. If that number doesn't work, well, growth doesn't fix it. Growth makes it worse. Point number two, churn is a product problem, not a marketing problem. Blue Apron kept throwing marketing dollars at churn, better targeting, more channels, bigger discounts, yada yada. But in 62% of customers churning in 6 months isn't a targeting problem, it's a product behavior fit problem. The product required behavioral change, consistent weekly cooking that most people are not ready to make. You cannot market your way out of a habit mismatch. The fix had to be the product. You had to have faster recipes or maybe a smaller minimal order or more flexibility to that order, making it easier to pause without canceling, building around how people actually live, not how they ideally like to live. Some of this they tried too late and not boldly enough. And then we have point three. Building a category is not same as owning one. Blue Apron spent hundreds of million educated American consumers about meal kits. Then HelloFresh, well, they took their market share. Then grocery chains launched their own. And then, of course, Amazon arrived. This is the same thing we saw with Glossier and Outdoor Voices. When you build a category through heavy marketing, community spending, you're creating demand that your customers can't capture. You have to build barriers to switching the same time you're building awareness, proprietary recipes, and maybe a deeper community and a loyalty flywheel that makes leaving painful. Blue Apron didn't build those fast enough. And point number four, the IPO timing didn't cause the failure, it just revealed it. Amazon Whole Foods announcement spooked investors, and that's a fair read on a competitive risk. But in the S1 was already public. Anyone who looked at the customer cohort data could see that the newer customers were worth less than the older customers, and the acquisition costs were actually climbing. The IPO didn't create the problem, it just shined a light on the problem that had been building for years. When you go public, you have nowhere to hide. The story that private investors bought were that it had high growth, it had a massive TAM or a total addressable market, and it can get big fast. And it stops working the moment quarterly earnings matter more than the narrative. If your unit economics don't work before the IPO, they definitely won't get better under the pressure of the public market. Blue Apron didn't fail because the idea was bad. People genuinely wanted to cook more. They genuinely wanted less food waste. They genuinely wanted to feel like they're eating better. The idea was right, and HelloFresh, they actually prove it. Blue Apron failed because they treated customer acquisition as a growth strategy when it actually was a debt instrument. Every customer acquired at $460 who churned in just 6 months was a loan to the business that the business couldn't pay back. And we're issuing those loans at 1 million customers a year, well, it catches up. Salzberg said something honest after it fell apart. The get big fast strategy that worked for Netflix and Uber failed in the meal kit industry. And he's right. But the reason it failed isn't because the meal kits are different from streaming or rides. The reason is simpler. Netflix and Uber had unit economics that worked at scale. Blue Apron, they didn't. Get big fast only works if getting bigger makes each transaction better. For Blue Apron, getting bigger made each transaction more expensive. That's the lesson. All right, next week, we're gonna go ahead and break down another brand. Make sure if you're enjoying these videos that you drop your comments and suggestions below. And please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know how you enjoyed this video. My name is Jimmy Kim, and this is why it failed.